Today's day 28 of growing an agency from 0 to 10K a month. I've done this before, 0 to 100K in 19 months, but I decided to run it back and track the journey. With this, I'm not using any of my network. I'm only using my skills and a camera, cold approaching, cold calling, cold emailing, whatever it takes to go get clients in the door and not leveraging my network. So far, $3,300 from day one between 3 different clients, $800 from a car dealership, $1,000 from Nick, and $1,500 from Michael. If you don't know these names, it's not a huge deal, except it kind of is a huge deal because they've been like the backbone of the series thus far. Tomorrow, I think we're going to be pushing through a deal that will get us all the way there to the 10K mark, but we'll see. Time will tell. In the meantime, I had an amazing coaching call with some of my students today, and I wanted to share a snippet that I think you're going to get a lot of value out of. So I'd encourage you, maybe 2x speed, lock in. I know it's not as exciting as going in cold approaching and as exciting as going and being in the field, but I think it's some information that you're really going to benefit from. Now, for the sake of my paying students, I'm not going to give you the whole call, but there's a snippet that I think you're going to get a lot from. So tune in. Outside of that, you don't want to miss this. On Sunday at 4 p.m. PST, 7 p.m. Eastern time, I'm going to be hosting a webinar, how to get to 10K a month with your video business. You're not going to want to miss that. It's going to be really fire. And I'm only doing one for the foreseeable future. So go register below, free registration, but you got to register. Tell me that you're going to show up. I would love to see you there. Again, it's the only one I'm going to do for the foreseeable future. It is capped with the amount of people that we can have because the software I'm using only limits so many people. I don't know how many it is, but just know it is limited. With that being said, I hope to see you at my webinar, but let's jump into the coaching call and let me know what you think. I want to start off with Brendan because you jumped on the call first, and then we'll kind of go around. Brendan, what's new with you? What's the current status of everything on your end?
So you can hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. So basically everything right now, I got a couple situations. So the two ones that I'm most concerned about was so I had gone to a Porsche dealership, and then I had gone to an Acura dealership next door. So both of them do seem interested, but like so with the Porsche dealership, they had said something about they only hire for like certain events. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they only have like a couple events a year and stuff like that. But once I had actually finished taking pictures and I'd shown him like the work that I've done, he's like, "Oh, that's exactly what we're kind of looking for our social media because like most of the pictures that we have are like clients that just send in their pictures after they're done and stuff."
Gotcha.
So basically, he had told me to just send him all the work that I had done. Obviously, I was going to do that anyways. And then basically we're going to touch base, but he hasn't responded back with that one yet. And then the Acura dealership, they said that they have people that they already kind of work with already, but they wanted me to email them with like the pictures that I took and like the content that I took as well. And then they also wanted me to send like some pricing, whatever. But I didn't put any pricing in the email when I sent it to them. I basically had said just like depends on like what type of deliverables you like and stuff like that. And I basically said it's and I kind of said that they had mentioned they had worked with like a social media agency already. So I said I can kind of like more personalize to them. You know what I'm saying? Because I work with less clients than them and stuff like that. But I didn't get too much into that type of stuff. And then that's pretty much it with those two. So what do you think?
The best thing that you can do, and I'm noticing this, and I'm speaking to this from like experience of actually like going and doing it, is like, especially with these local business, like the best thing you can do is just nurture the relationship. And like what that looks like is just like going out of your way to care, right? So it's like with Michael, with Brian, which are two clients that we kind of have in the pipeline for this series and that have like paid some money, is like, for example, like I don't have another shoot with Brian till Sunday. And I sent him a video, and actually I'm going to check real quick and see if he saw it. But that was like what I edited in my YouTube video last night. So he like read it, but he didn't respond. And he said he was going to send me some ideas throughout the week that he had. He hasn't done that yet. It's Thursday, right? So what like the easy approach is just like, oh, I'll just like wait till Sunday, right? But what goes the extra mile is like going in, stopping in, saying what's up, go shake his hand, see how business is going. And it's just like you're checking in on him like a friend, and like that's like the nurture part. Like same with Michael. I'll go have a cigar with Michael. I'll go have dinner with Michael. I'll go on a walk. I'll go have coffee. Like you're just getting to know them. So like at the Porsche dealership, right? If you want to like nurture that, like you become the go-to not only for them, but for anyone that they're like thinking of that would need your services as well. If you just are active and present, right? If you think of like a relationship, you know, like when does that grow and when does that get better? Like if you're like interested in a woman, right? It's when you literally are showing up and you're, you know, you're pursuing it, right? So it's like with Brian, like Brian's already connecting me with a bunch of other people as well, simply just because I'm showing up. And like he's only paid me $800 so far for like the stuff that I've been doing. I've gone in there probably between follow-ups and like texting and whatnot, like 10 times in the last month. So it's like, but I realized that like, and like, that's not even like good pay for like what I'm doing. Like what I'm doing, like I could charge way more for, but it's not about that. It's about building the relationship and starting off on the right foot, because like I need Brian to see that I actually care. And like he'll see that I actually care when I do the stuff that I don't have to do, which is going in when I don't have to go in, randomly showing up, seeing what's up. Like, because I can go in there today. I'm probably going to go in there today and just be like, yo, how's everything doing? Like, I'm not going in there to make an ask. I'm not going in there to request anything. I'm just simply going in to check in. And like, he can appreciate that because it's like, I'm taking time out of my day to do the inefficient thing. So with these Porsche dealerships, and for all of you, any of the businesses that you're reaching out to, the success will come in the inefficiency, because the inefficiency is what is not scalable, right? Like anyone can go send 15, 20, 30 cold DMs a day, but like how many people are going to this business a couple times a week and checking in and seeing what's up, right? Because like ultimately they don't want to just be sold a service. Like they want to be sold a service and be cared for, and like, you know, they want to have a good experience through it, right? Like if you think about, you know, even like our community, right? Like I brought on Unique to check in with you guys multiple times a week, because I realized that like with my bandwidth and like making these YouTube videos and like going cold approaching businesses and making sure that I'm actually doing the thing that I'm selling, like I wouldn't be able to just like reach out to every single person every single day. But I realized the importance of that. So I bring someone on full time to make sure that that happens, right? It's the same with like business. Like it's that inefficiency that makes it good. And it's like, you know, if you're dating someone, like going out of your way and like going and buying flowers, or, you know, doing the unscalable thing, that usually ends up what is scalable. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So my homework to you would be keep nurturing that. Like you can go do free work for a month for them and it's not a waste, because it's like they are people that can afford it and they are connected to people that can afford it. And like you're putting yourself in that environment where, like, if I have the opportunity to put myself in a room full of 8 and 9 figure entrepreneurs, just me being in that room is worth like really almost anything. Not like obviously anything, but like I'll go film it for free. Like, you know, because I know that even just one conversation could make me exponentially more than I would ever get paid for doing the event. Right. And like, that's how you have to start looking at things. And the value exchange is, it's like the value exchange isn't always about money. And usually doing things right, it will take time to go and nurture that. Like, again, like Brian didn't end up paying until like 17 days. And like, I reached out to him on the very first day of the series cold. So, and then that's also with like having gone in like multiple times and him also being more warmed up to the idea than other people. So realize that, like, you know, like I think a lot of people, they'll want to go in somewhere and be like, oh, I cold approach, like, you know, it's time for the retainer. It's like, no, cold approach, follow up, 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 and then maybe you strike something up, right? Especially in like the economy that we're in now, and like with competition, when you do something like that, you don't have competition because no one else is doing that, because it's the unscalable thing. Like established businesses can't afford to do that because it's time to go in every day and every day, right? So that's, you have to realize, you know, as someone that's starting out, and so, you know, when you're beginning, like that is your advantage, is doing the unscalable things. And that's how like you can outcompete, you know, larger businesses, right? If I was an established business and I wasn't able to do that, you could go and beat me, because reality is like the dealership doesn't need, or most of these businesses, they don't need the best work. They just want someone that's committed to doing the work, right? And it's like, that's why literally Brian will just pay me, right? I haven't even like officially asked him for pay yet. He has just paid me because I show up and like he literally just feels bad because of how often I show up. And that's the exact frame that you want to be in. Because then it's like, he's like, damn, like, this guy like cares so much and I feel bad because I'm busy. Like, I'm just going to pay him. And I wasn't ever expecting that. It's just, I know that if I can just show up and be consistent and persistent, like, it's going to go so much further than anything else.
Yeah, no, that's fire. No, I know exactly what I need to do now. More, yeah, I think I'm gonna just go pop in and just ask like what type of ideas he has first before I start taking more pictures and videos and stuff. So he's like more realizing that I'm like feeding into what he wants instead of just like, yo, let me just take more pictures and stuff like that. And then,
Like, just understand him. Ask questions, like, get to know him. Show him you care. Like, I'll go in and ask Brian, I'm like, yo, like, how much inventory have you guys moved this month? He's like, well, actually, like, we're doing really good this month. And then I go talk to him about that, right? Because it's what he cares about and what he's doing. And it shows, one, I'm caring about what he's doing. And two, it helps me understand, like, he's going to talk about what's important to him because it's important to him, right? So it's like, if I can just start up conversation and be like a conversationalist, and like, most of you guys will realize that if you can just do that, like, it sounds so simple, but if you can just be good at like bringing conversation and like keeping conversation going, it's going to go so far for you, like so far.
yeah, no, that's facts. I feel like that's just like one of my biggest problems that I need to get over. It's just really just like you said, nurturing just like the relationships and stuff like that. Because I'm really good with having conversation and stuff, but just like even just like taking the extra step to just go do it is like what I need to do. But I understand what you're saying.
Like, and this is where like picking up on all the little small things goes so far, right? So when we went to the cigar lounge with Brian, um, first off, like, no one else is doing that, right? So that's step one there. Like, I actually inviting him to a cigar lounge. So there's that. And then we get to the cigar lounge. I was like, oh, like, what'd you end up buying for a cigar, like, to smoke? And he's like, oh, I got like a Padron, right? So now it's like, okay, well, now today I can go to the cigar shop, I can buy a Padron for like $10, $15. Like, it's not that much, right? And then I can go to the dealership and I can go greet Brian, yo, I got this for you, bro, right? That's like massive, like, some people would say aura points, frame points, whatever. Like, it's just like that really, no one else is doing that, right? And it shows that like you're paying attention to what he cares about. And like, that's what people want. Like, it's all those little details. Like, don't skip the little details. Like, I think a lot of people come into this, they're like, I'm just going to shoot videos, but it's all those little details that amount to something. Cause it's like that right there could be the difference between me landing at $2,000 and a $3,000 a month gig, just by paying attention to those little details.
Facts. All right. No, I appreciate that because I'm definitely gonna start getting like I'm probably gonna go over there. Probably what time is it? Yeah, no, probably tomorrow. I'll probably gonna stop by there and just like sit down with have a good conversation with them and stuff like that.
100%. And like to me, like, the way that I look at this is like, okay, Brian's paid me 800 so far, but I'm like, I'm not trying to pocket that 800, right? Maybe you need some of that. Cool. Maybe you need like 400 or 500 of that personally. But like, my goal with this is like, how can I reinvest all that back into like nurturing this relationship? Here's a box of cigars. Let's go get cigars. Like, I want to take him to dinner. And I'm not saying you should necessarily go take your client to dinner, but like, once I sign the retainer, like, I've read the relationship enough to be like, okay, yeah, like, we could go, like, I could take out a couple of his guys, we could go out to dinner and just chop it up, and then
Yeah,
like cover the tab. Because like, I mean, bro, if he pays me $3K and I drop $200 on dinner, like, that does so much more for the relationship than what the $200 is worth. Because
yeah,
like, this isn't a game of like, oh, let's go get a retainer. It's like, no, like, I'm trying to like build a relationship here. Like, the biggest thing is like, this isn't a one and done type of thing. Last thing you want to do is sign a retainer, and then they like are just next month like, actually, I'm not interested, right? Because then you did all that work for what? It's like, if you think about it like that, it's like, okay, if I'm going to go work with Brian for a year, then what I'm actually shooting for and doing all this and buying cigars for $150, whatever, it's like, I'm shooting for a $36,000 deal if you think about it, right? And like, that's how you should be thinking about things, and that's how, like, what your frame should be. Like, it's not, oh, I want to work with this person for 1 month. Like, why would you only want to work with the person for 1 month? Like, you can provide value for so much longer than that. So it's like, what would the the value of this deal be if they paid me every month for a year? Okay, it's a $36,000 deal, or it's a $24,000 deal. Okay, let me start looking at it in terms of that.
okay. No, that makes sense.
Um, cool. Michael, I'm going to jump to you real quick. I know you have to bounce out here in a sec.
Yeah, man. Basically where I'm at is just like I've been spending a lot of time filming and stuff, but it's not for, ideally the type of clients that I'm wanting. And yeah,
What are the
I
type
just
of
want to
clients
get
you
your
want?
opinion on the whole like film world in terms of filming movies and stuff. And like, how would you recommend like, delegating time towards that to like get better at your skills, but at the same time, make the time so you can still focus on the stuff that's going to get you consistently paid well for what you're worth?
So this is going to be the answer that videographers hate. And I can say this because I've literally seen it on my social media. There's this scale of becoming a videographer, right? And like there's 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50%. Like let's say it's a scale out of 100, right? And like 100 is the best possible videographer you can be. And then there's like 0. Reality is 75, 80 to 100. You're not going to really notice too much of a difference in how much you'll get paid for a deal. Especially if that's like an ROI focused deal, a return on investment focused deal, right? If you're making the client money, you're really going to not see much of a change in how much you could get paid in that range, right? So it's like, in my opinion, for you guys, like pretty much all of you are videographers here, getting to that 70 to 80% mark of like being the best videographer you can be is really all you need to go make a lot of money. Like I'm not the best videographer, and in fact for the, part 2 of this series that I'm going to do, like I'm bringing on people that are better videographers than me and, but they're just better storytellers because I realize that like the videography is just the vehicle. The way that this works and the way you make money with it is helping other people make money and by telling stories and by having relationships, right? Because like Michael, if we look at it this way, say there's a billionaire and he has $1 million budget for an ad campaign, right? So it's like he's already, like, if you think about like an ad campaign for what it is, you're spending money on ads because you want to make a return on that investment on ads, right? If I put $1 million, I want to make like 2 million out, right? So this billionaire, who do you think he would prefer to work with? The 5 out of 10 videographer that can tell a good story and get results, or he can, convert people through video, or the 9 out of 10 videographer that can't do that, right? He's good at making movies, but like, it's the ROI that will be paid for. And that's what I'm getting to here is it's like the clients that you want are usually not the clients that care about you making the best possible video. They're the clients that feel understood by you and feel that you can get them from point A to point B. Because, right, businesses are going to pay for something that's going to return them on their investment, right? If you came to me and you're like, oh, I can make you this banger video. It's going to be $5,000. It's going to be the coolest video you've ever seen. I'd be like, okay, like, is it going to make me money? And you're like, well, like, it's a cool video. I'm like, okay, I'm not interested, right? But if you came to me and you're like, for $10,000, I can make you a decently cool video, but it's going to make you 30 grand. I'm like, all right, like if you can guarantee that, like I'll literally pay you right now.
So that's a whole nother thing too that I've been struggling with is like we talk about this whole thing about guaranteeing something when a lot of the times, at least I think for a lot of other students, is we don't have like a case study for retainers of like,
and that's why you have to make the guarantee.
Exactly. So would you
go ahead.
Retainer under the belt and really hone in on that one retainer so I can, learn from the mistakes. But I've also realized too, I don't want that first retainer to be like a shitty client, like I want to find the right one. So when I'm delegating that time towards them every month, I'm providing them something that's worthwhile and that actually has the potential to get them clicks and views and stuff like that. But the hardest thing is, going up to them and being like, hey guys, this is what I do. I've done this for X, Y, and Z. I do all these cool things on sets and stuff. But how do you convince them, like, without
there's a couple different ways that you can
that you're going to guarantee that?
Well, you don't have to lie to them. It's a guarantee. And there's a couple different ways that you can structure guarantees. One, it can be like, look, like I guarantee I'll get you XYZ result, or I'll give you your money back, right? That's one way. I guarantee that I'll get you X, Y, and Z result, or I'll keep working for you for free until I do. That's another way that you can do it.
So or just leverage kind of the conversation into like a no risk for them.
Yes, but you can also ask like, oh, what's important to you? Like, if I were to guarantee something, like, what would you want me to guarantee, right? Because oftentimes we can come in and be like, oh, I'll give you your money back. In most cases, they might just be like, well, I actually don't want my money back. I just want the result. It's like, okay, so I'll just work for you for free until I get there.
Until
okay,
we get
good.
Yeah.
Right. So because it's like, if you came to me and you're like, oh, like $10,000, I'll help you make 30, like, blah blah blah, money back, I'd be like, I actually don't really care about the money back. I care more about getting the result. So it's like, if you can just guarantee I get the result and you'll work for free until we get the result, I'd much prefer that than like spending 30 days and then like, you refunding.
And
Like,
I think that would probably have a lot better success rates than being like, hey, I can guarantee you this, but I don't have any proof of showing it.
And like,
but
the
rather say,
reality
hey, I can
is,
guarantee you this, and we're going to make sure of it because, I'm going to work for free until you get there. And then you just
100%.
make, the proper right scripted videos. And then,
And here's the reality for all of you guys, right? If I was like, hey, here's $10,000, I'm waving it in front of you right here. I'm like, I need you to like film this and like figure this out. Like, here's this money. I just need you to go figure it out, right? If this is, at least this is how I work, right? If someone pays me and they're like, yo, like, I know you can do like 70% of this. Can you figure out the other 30% or whatever it is? Like, I'm going to be much more motivated to figure it out when it's like, oh, I don't want to, like, they paid me and I don't want to give this money back, right? So like, I would rather accept the payment because I know how I work, and like, I know that I'll figure it out way faster when it's like there's something on the line.
Yeah.
Like, for me personally, like, I'm just a little crazy like that, where it's like, I would rather have my back against the wall. Like, I'd rather have like,
same. I think that's a whole nother point too, is like when you're nurturing these relationships and you're not quite with your back against the wall, I've realized it's easier to like, not nourish the relationships as much when, they're not like, already interested in being like, okay, we got this budget. This is what we're allocating to someone, do you want to be that?
And it's like, the reality is like, they're like, usually most of these businesses, they're like just barely good enough to run their own business, let alone do what they're asking you to do. Right. So it's like, oftentimes we overcomplicate like what it is that they're looking for and how hard it is going to be to achieve that, when in reality, it's like, it usually ends up not being that hard, and it just usually ends up being consistency that will get you to that mark. Right. Yeah. So for example, right, if I go into the dealership and Brian's like, yo, like, I need to pivot a little bit, like, I need your help running ads. Like, honestly, I don't have a lot of experience in like doing like, say, Google search SEO ads for Brian, but I know damn sure out of anyone in that dealership, I'm the most qualified to do it. And I know I'm going to be the fastest to figure it out.
Correct.
So it's like, I'd be like, dude, of course, like, that's easy, right? Because I know I'm just going to go figure it out.
Yeah. So, I think I'm at this point where I've been accepting the gigs that have been handed to me, because they're still coming. And if anything, now that I've been doing this, I've just been surrounding myself and talking more about film, which has been good. So there's been more gigs coming up, but I want my own work. I want my own work where, I'm able to nourish the client. And then on top of that, tell them, each month what I'm going to be giving to them. And so I'm not,
it's a conversations game. Like, you guys have seen it firsthand, like in my series, like, and like, you can all go do that. Like, you all have a camera to some degree. Like, you can all go walk into businesses and have those conversations. Like, you saw, like, it was like business after business after business after business in the beginning. And then once I like found like a path, I just nurtured that. Right. Like, I haven't really been doing much cold approaching, if you guys have noticed. I've just been doing a lot of
just nourishing and following up with clients.
Exactly. So it's like, if you want those retainers, go have some more conversations. Like, it really is as simple as that.
Yeah.
And
I mean, still, even from like, I think last time we talked was like 2 weeks ago. I never even got to follow up with those videos because I got like flown out to LA for a BTS shoot, and then I've been here on set, so I haven't like had that time. But I'm starting to realize is like, even with all these things going on, it'd be nice to have something that I can go home to, and like consistently work on monthly to get the business side of it growing. Even though I have all these outside gigs that are helping me with like the video side and the storytelling side.
For sure. And it's like, the reality is like, if you gave me a month right now and only 5 businesses to go reach out to, then like I guarantee you I could make something happen, right? Because like I'm gonna go choose 5 businesses that I know can afford me and know that will benefit from what I can provide, and then I'm just gonna go into all 5 and I'm gonna feel those out, right? And I'm gonna pick like 2 of them that I think have the best bet, and like I'm just gonna take a gamble, and like sometimes that's what it is, right? But it's an educated guess, right? You're kind of gambling as the house, like the odds are in your favor, and then I'm just gonna go into that dealership or that business, whatever it is, and I'm just gonna go nurture, like I realized that, okay, I'm gonna go probably meet them on day 1, and I'm probably not even gonna try to sign them until day 30, and I'm just gonna take that entire 30 days to nurture and like build value, right? Because the more that you build up that value, the bigger of an ask you can make, right? If I go in and I try to sign something, like maybe I get like $300 for a video if I try to do it day 1. It's like I could push for that, or the further I push it out and the more that I nurture and the more that I build value, the larger chance that I can sign something bigger. So the fact that I've taken Brian to cigars, the fact that I'm probably going to take him to dinner, you know, the fact that I'll probably bring him in cigars today, like all these things amount to me being able to make a bigger ask, because it's really just a psychology thing where it's like, if I make this large ask, he at that point is either going to say yes or no, realistically, based on like how much he likes me as a person. Right. Because like
and that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. And that's where I'm realizing more and more. It's like I've done this whole like reaching out to and doing the cold videos for businesses, and it was great, but I did like 6 videos in one day. So I had to nourish all 6 of these clients, and some of them I didn't want as much as other ones, and the ones I actually wanted weren't as interested. So it was interesting to see. Is like, I think a better way of approaching it would have been like, out of the 6 videos that I did, which ones were actually truly interested, and then go hard on nourishing them and providing them maybe that first month of free work, instead of doing all 6 and not as good of a job on, you know, the 2 that you really wanted to work with.
Yeah. And like the biggest thing here, and again, this is for all of you, is like the psychology of it and the frame and positioning of it is
key.
It's honestly so much more important than anything else, right? Because it's like, if I'm a good videographer and I go in and I'm a dick, like shit ain't happening, right? But like I could, like Brian's the type of person that like if I went in with my iPhone, just my iPhone, and I provided good work, and I could talk and I could talk and I could talk and I could talk, like it's going to go somewhere, right? So it's like that's the skill set. That's the $1 million skill set right there, I would say.
Yeah.
And like I'm not just saying $1 million skill set just to say that, but because like that's what we used.
Yeah, without that, no one's going to want to spend more than
$1 million year business.
A couple $1,000s on you for consistent work.
100%. All right, let's jump.
Yeah, I'm about to head out. Take care, guys.
All right, see you, Michael. So this went on for another hour and a half, but I'm going to cut it there. And I would encourage you to come back and watch tomorrow, because I think tomorrow is going to be really solid, day 29. We might get there. I'm not making any promises, but we might get there. I'll catch you tomorrow.